Welcome along again, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to be taking this motorcycle out today on the streets, and I'm going to be doing a video in a response to these videos that I'm seeing all over YouTube. You notice you've been seeing a lot of videos on YouTube, 10 times atheists blew our minds, etc. And you know, I used to be an atheist, and I found that it's the complete opposite. I found that atheism is madness in its purest form. So I thought I would give my rebuttal to these videos out there because, you know, I live in a free country still, America. And so I'm a Christian, and I was an atheist, so I do feel qualified to go through some reasons why the majority of people, when they reach the age of over 17, 18 years old, and they mature and educate themselves, why they leave atheism. I don't know if you knew that was a fact. It is a fact. A lot of the atheists are kids, but once they educate themselves and grow up, they tend to leave atheism and realize that all of this didn't just come into being from nothing or from randomness. So we're going to get on this motorcycle here, and I'm going to mix a little motorcycle lesson in with this video. But first, let's put the camera so it's hands-free in the little holder here. We're hands-free. I'm going to show you guys some things on the motorcycle real quick, and then we'll get into this video title, 10 more times atheists lost their minds. Now, if you're going to be riding a motorcycle, a lot of people say, well, how do you change the oil? I want to show you something. See that little sight glass right here? When the motorcycle is level, the oil should be right between here, which it is when it's level. So I want to also see if I could possibly save someone's life. You know, I've been watching these videos on YouTube. Let's get the motorcycle started. And I see a lot of motorcycle riders crash because they don't know how to counter steer. So I'm going to show that to you. And before we get started, check this out. I'm going to rev the throttle here. Listen to this. Not bad for a little 250, huh? And they recently changed the sprocket on this bike, so we're going to check it out. I'm going to a gun supply store, an ammo supply store, because they have these magazines for my California legal AR-15 that I want to get. That look really cool. They call hex mags. So let's get started. And before we get started, going through the 10 times atheists lost their minds, notice nothing up my sleeve. I have no notes whatsoever. Let's put this in the strap here, otherwise this will drive me crazy the whole time, this watch here. So I'm just going to be speaking from my heart, soul, mind. You know what's interesting is I'm going to the gun store. I was thinking how dangerous atheism is for your rights and my rights. Very, very dangerous. So let's talk about this. If you go to other countries besides the US, the United States of America, you will find that their constitution and their founding documents are totally different than the US, like these communist countries, like China. China's a official atheistic government. North Korea, official atheistic government. You guys see that clip the other day where this guy fell asleep when Kim Jong-un, or whoever the new leader is, I gotta do a U-turn here, was talking, and they killed him. You know how they killed him? With an anti-aircraft weapon. This is what happens when you get atheists in power. North Korea is also an official secular atheistic run government. Millions, hundreds of millions of people have died whenever atheists have come into power. Look up the atheist regimes of Stalin, Mao, the Khmer Rouge, Kim Jong-il, Pol Pot, and there's more of them. Hundreds and hundreds of millions of people slaughtered and murdered in cold blood Because on atheism, murder is just subjective. It's not objectively wrong. So let's get on this a bit. We're going to have some fun. And every now and then I got to look down because I'm looking at my GPS here where it's telling me to go. Because I put the coordinates in the GPS on my phone. And it's taking us to the gun place. You know, so when we go back to the conversation about the, you know, our Declaration of Independence, it says that the rights come from God. Every atheist would agree that the Declaration of Independence says that. They may hate that, but it does say that our rights come from God directly to us. Then the government's job is to protect those rights that come from where? That's right, they come from God. Now in the, do I gotta go right here? Let me see something. Yeah, this is it. In the other countries, it's the government that grants the rights, okay? But in America, we believe that these rights, what are these main rights? Remember, there's 3 of them. That everyone has this God-given right of life. That's why abortion's wrong. Liberty and the pursuit of happiness. Who gives us those rights? God. Now, I know there's some people in government, like, for example, Obama, Hillary Clinton, even some Republicans. They want you to believe that the government is giving you these rights. In a very spooky part of Obama's speech, his acceptance speech at the convention, he said, the government is something we all belong to, which is very unusual, very New World Order-ish, if you will, because the government belongs to you and I. We don't belong to it, like we're subservient slaves to the government. So let's go through some things why atheism is dangerous. Atheists want that to be removed, that those rights are not inalienable rights, that the government, based on a consensus of the people, they're going to tell you what rights. So let's start off with Sam Harris, complete nut. If you ever want to go to sleep, watch Sam Harris debate. He's like the Eeyore. Where we're going here. He's like the Eeyore of atheist debaters. He's like, hello. He's like the Debbie Downer of atheism. That's right, atheism offers no hope. Sam Harris is in debate, and he dishonestly tries to change the definition. See that person right there? You always got to be aware that you don't cut out in front of the crosswalk. Sam Harris changes the definition of objective moral values when he lost the debate to Dr. William Lane Craig. Now, I'm not going to mention this website a lot of times because it takes up a lot of videos. So I might mention it at the most 2 or 3 times, but at the top of this video, see where it says debatesonvideo.blogspot.com. You can see everything I'm talking about there on video on the blog, including the debate where Sam Harris says that objective morality, and this is one reason, one of the 10 times where atheists have lost their minds. He said objective morality can best be defined as what causes the least harm. What causes the least amount of harm. Really? How depressing. Whatever happened to what causes the best amount of joy or the best pleasure or the best happiness? Notice the atheists have a problem right off the bat in that Sam Harris redefines objective morality as what causes the least amount of harm, which is not objective morality. And I'm going to give you an example. By the way, you see that symbol right there? That symbol on the windscreen is for Harvest Church, just an excellent church. Greg Laurie. See where we're going here? Okay. So Sam Harris dishonestly says that objective morality is like if you do a good move in chess or a bad move in chess, like chess and checkers. And he tries to redefine it. Like, if you do a good move in chess, then that's good. If you do a bad move in chess, then that's bad. And he tries to compare objective morality to that. But if you notice what he smuggles in, because these atheists are very dishonest. Well, I mean, you'd be dishonest too if your father was Satan. And I'm just taking that from Scripture. Remember when Jesus says, I do the will of my Father who is in heaven, and the people that were rejecting him, he said, but you do the will of your father who is Satan. So Sam Harris' father, literally spiritual father, is Satan. So Sam Harris says that it's like a chess match. Now, Dr. William Lane Craig totally defeats Sam Harris in that debate, which you can see at the top here. Debatesonvideo.blogspot.com. That's the last time I'm going to mention that, so you got to remember that. And he says, a chess match, if you make a wrong move in a chess game, that's not evil. You know, it'd be good if you won the chess game, but just because you lost or you made a bad move, that's not evil. How could you compare raping or murdering someone as a bad move in a chess match? So Sam Harris totally... Oh, go ahead. It's your lane. Go ahead, take it, my dear. Go ahead. Oh, okay. No problem. I don't know what she's saying. We're like carrying on a conversation as we're going. Okay, so let's show you counter steering. But before we do, so Sam Harris, look at this guy's flying. Sam Harris says that, look at, this is why you don't want to get all the way over. Sam Harris says that objective morality is like moves on a chessboard. This is madness that Sam Harris would compare that. So he loses that debate when he talks about objective morality being like good moves on a... Hold on, I'm going to stop here. I'm not going to go for it. Let's see, it's so sunny, I can't tell. Okay, I'm a neutral. By the way, when we're coming up here, we're going to be coming up here to counter steering. When I'm going to the left, this is what you guys got to learn on counter steering, otherwise you'll crash. When you're going left, you're actually going to turn right, just a slight turn to the right, and it'll lean it. When you're going right, you're actually going to slightly give pressure to the left. That's why they call it counter steering. They shouldn't call it that. It's an unfortunate name. They should call it counter pressure. So I'm going to show that to you. I'm going to get a good clip of speed in front of this lady. Now she's getting over. Very good. Austin Dacey, absolute nut. In his debate, you know where to see it. In his debate, he says that because atheists are the king of straw man arguments. He says that, oh, wait a minute. I gotta go left here. I can still show you counter steering. We're coming up with... He says that, God's not there because, let's say I made a cake. I'm not making this up. And you would expect that there'd be eggshells in the trash can and all this. And he says, but I come home and I see there's no cake. Or the blender's not all dirty or messed up. He goes, so by that I can calculate there's no cake, therefore there's no God. And he tries to equate a straw man argument with this cake analogy. You've heard that saying, the cake is a lie. So atheists will use this cake analogy to say, well, the cake's not there, therefore God's not there. It's so stupid. Okay, but let's show you some counter steering here. I hope these guys pick up speed or we're not going to be able to show you. Come on. All right, we're going to show you. So like right here, you're going to pull towards you on the left handlebar. See how it's leaning? We have a really strong one coming up here to the left. So I'm going to pull towards me on the right here. So watch. Good. We're going at a good clip here. Watch this. Right there. Watch the dotted line, the lane there. Watch. Now, if I want to go in the left lane, I'm going to pull back on the left here and see how it moves me there. That's counter steering. You got to learn that. You guys that you go to the MSF class, which is a great class. I'm not putting it down, that Motorcycle Safety Foundation. But they don't teach you at high speeds. You never even get over like 10 miles per hour in a little parking lot. And then people think, yay, I can go out and ride, and you get killed. or you hurt yourself, and we love you. We don't want you to hurt yourself. So you want to learn counter steering. Now, you don't have to learn it going around corners. I'm going to show you. You just pull left and right while you're going straight, and you'll learn it. Counter pressure, we'll call it. So Austin Dacey was one with the cake. That's another time he lost his mind. Bart Ehrman, very dishonest atheist, but now he said he's an agnostic, so he's moving closer to saying God exists. So we'll give him credit for at least, you know, easing his way out of the madness. By the way, that's what happened with Antonin Flew. Antonin Flew was a staunch atheist, but after looking at evolution, he just saw too much design in it, and also the cosmological argument, anything that begins to exist must have a cause, therefore, and the universe did begin to exist, therefore the universe has a cause, and what, pray tell, caused it, since it couldn't have been anything of matter, energy, or space, because that didn't exist. You know? But let's go to Bart Ehrman. Bart Ehrman dishonestly tries to point out contradictions in the Bible, of which there are none. But I'm going to go through a couple things. He says, well, in one passage it says that the women left the tomb and they didn't tell anybody as they went along. And then later on he says, but then here they're telling someone. It's so stupid. He doesn't get it. It's like, if I'm going to this gun place and I don't tell anyone I'm going to the gun place on the way there, and I tell them after, you know, there's no contradiction. So he's just so stupid. Hold on a second. Looks like we're getting on the freeway here. Awesome. This guy would go. Let's see. Once I get under the shade here, I can see. Yes, freeway riding, buddy. So that's one thing he says is a contradiction, which it's not. He's just so dishonest. There'll be a special hot place in hell for him if he keeps trying to turn people away from Christ. Remember, Jesus said it's better for someone to put a millstone around their neck and cast themselves into the sea than to turn someone away from one of these little ones, or to harm one of these little ones. And Jesus refers that, it's like a double passage where it refers to a newborn Christian or a child. And if someone's a new Christian and you try to turn someone away from Christianity, it's really bad. It does appear you get a harsh judgment. Another dishonest thing where Bart Ehrman goes crazy is he says, in one passage it says there were angels, in the other passage it says there were men. But when you read the story, like for example when the angels came and they destroyed Sodom and Gomorrah, the angels come in the appearance of men. Remember when they destroyed Sodom and Gomorrah? Ah, the good old days. Come on, God, can't you just throw a few lightning bolts towards Hollywood, please? Can't you pretty please? Wait, this is where I gotta go. Oh no, darn it, wrong one. That's the other location here. There we go with the GPS. Now I can see it. Awesome. So we're going to get you some freeway riding here. Should be pretty good. But one of the main things that have caused atheists, almost every atheist I know on YouTube, to go crazy is evolution. The problem is evolution used to claim two things. There's an abiogenesis part to it that was sort of like an add-on to it, where out of the primordial soup, this is what used to be taught in schools. It's not taught anymore because it's been debunked. Science has shown that the conditions there were not prevalent to create life. But it was a theory, but now that has fallen to the wayside, and now the primordial soup theory is gone. But the primordial soup theory, along with evolution, was like the atheist, you know, loved it. They would say that everything was bubble, bubble, boil, and trouble, and out of the primordial soup, mankind evolved and popped out of the slime. Let's see what we're getting off on here. All right, we got 3 miles of this. But now, the whole primordial soup theory has fallen to the wayside. By the way, I want to show you guys something before we get into the primordial soup. Check this out. They changed the sprocket on this, and it has totally transformed this bike. So I'm in 6th gear now. Now before, if I was going at this speed, I'd be like right around redlining. But here I'm at 10 grand instead of like 12 grand. Now it redlines at 13 grand. So it's pretty cool. And check it out, I can tuck down. Look at it. It has really some get up and go. Okay, so now all that evolutionists have is, all that atheists have is evolution. And it's still a theory, but it's a theory on how things, and this is where atheists are still, this is one of the 10 times atheists have lost their minds. They're going crazy with this. All evolution talks about, and you atheists, my atheist subscribers, bless your sweet little primate hearts, okay? You guys are going ape over evolution, but you need to realize you're making fools of yourself. All evolution talks about is a theory on how things change over time. Very bumpy freeway here. How things change over time. In other words, the primordial soup theory that you guys used to cling to is now dead and gone. So now you have, it's like you had 2 crutches. You have the crutch of the primordial soup, and your other crutch, my atheist friends, was evolution. But now you're left with 1 crutch because the other crutch of the primordial soup has been kicked out from underneath you. Got to get off here. And of course we all know, speaking of crutches, we all know atheism is a crutch for those timid souls that cannot bear the reality of God. Can you imagine how powerful God is? I know we see the famous painting of Adam holding his finger out, and there's this like old man with his hair, his gray hair waving, and he's a representative of God, and he's holding his finger out, and that's not God. That's just a man-made painting of it. God, imagine this, God created the sun. And you know how those explosions on the sun, the flames flying out from the sun, all that distance. Now it switches that I gotta go over here, stupid GPS. All that distance from the sun, it's just amazing. Okay, we're going here. Okay, I know where we're going. God created the universe. Imagine how powerful he is. You know how scripture, when it starts off, and there's these parts of scripture where it says, in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. Just by his spoken word, he can create things, just like how he created the universe. And that's why scientists do agree that if God exists, I'll say it like that even though I know he does, but if God exists, it would make sense that his spoken word created the universe, because nothing material like this motorcycle or matter or the earth, nothing material could create the universe, because there was nothing material that existed. You see, we basically, seriously, we have 2 choices. Either God did it or nothing did it. Now, of course, atheists like Lawrence Krauss, who's a complete mad scientist, the guy's a complete nut, he's saying nothing did it. What the heck? I gotta get over here. This GPS is... Go ahead. Thanks, brother. I got the green arrow. This GPS is very slow to switch. Okay, it looks like we're on the right track. But Lawrence Krauss is saying that nothing did it, that nothing created the universe. Because he understands, I'll give him credit for this, even though he's a complete nut, he understands that it couldn't have been anything material. He can't say the singularity is eternal because the singularity came into existence. Let me kind of go because those people are so nice. They says we're coming upon the wow, look at this nice bike. We're coming upon the place over here. That's another thing that atheists did that was madness. Was what we're looking for is Ammo Brothers. Is the atheist used to claim, the atheist scientist used to claim this. The Christian scientist of that time did not claim it. And the Christian scientists were ridiculed at the time. But the atheist scientists used to claim the universe was eternal and uncaused, like it always just existed. Of course, now we would laugh at that with modern science. We know the universe is expanding, and we know that it began to exist. Where is this place? You guys see it? Ammo Brothers. Ah, right here. Talk to me, come on. There it is. Woohoo! Ammo Brothers. So there is like nowhere to park here. Is that parking? No. Is that parking? Yeah. Ah, West Marine parking only. Let's go back. There's like no parking. Well, let me sit here for a while till someone comes out. I have to finish the video anyways, and then we'll park. Shut this off. Now, some atheists will try to get around it and say, well, there's the multiverse theory, that there's other universes that are in another dimension beyond our universe, so to speak, and they created our universe. And there's no evidence of it, by the way, but this is like a theory they have, because they're trying to get away from saying the universe had a beginning. But there's three scientists, brilliant scientists, Bohr, Guth, and Vilenkin. And they have stated, now this guy's trying to come in to park, there's no parking here. They had stated that even if there were a multiverse, the multiverse would have had to come into being. So, oh, there was parking right there. Dang it, oh well, he could have it. I thought that was handicapped, or maybe it is. See it right there? I'm telling you, if I ever become handicapped, I'm going to milk that space for all it's worth. I'm just kidding. There's a lot of handicap spaces around. A lot of them. So, the Bohr-Guth-Vilenkin theorem shows that any universe, even if it was a multiverse, it had to come into existence. Okay, maybe I can park on the street. I don't know. It had to come into existence. Let's go over here. Another West Marine. I'm just going to park in West Marine. What's West Marine? Let's see what that is. I think they're closed. West Marine. Another instance. I could park right there. That's pretty good, right in front of the... That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to park right there on the street. 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. Wow, this place is like pumping. Yeah, I'll park back there. Let's go around. So, another time where atheists lost their mind was the Amazing Atheist. Years ago, I had a challenge out to all the atheists on YouTube to give me some proof and evidence that would show that atheism is accurate and correct. And of course, it got back to the Amazing Atheist because, you know, all his little 14, 15-year-old subscribers that were atheists, they were like, come on, you gotta tell him. You gotta tell him, give him some proof and evidence, they were saying to him. So he's like, I'll step up. So he steps up and he attempts to do the video, and he admits, after he thinks about it, you gotta give him credit. I give him credit on being honest here. He said, so he cannot prove that atheism is accurate and correct. And all his subscribers were like, oh, you let us down. But I'll still be an atheist because, you know, I don't know any better. Yeah, we'll just park here. Here we go. So look for that video, Proof Atheism is Madness. Aaron Ra attempted to show that atheism was accurate and correct, and he couldn't do it. He talked about evolution. How would evolution prove that atheism is accurate and correct? Evolution is just a theory on how things change over time. In fact, more people are coming to Christian theism and theism. More people are coming to believe that God exists based on the theory of evolution, because they just can't believe that the eye formed itself by randomness, by luck. I want to give you guys an example. I want you to pretend that there's an explosion and the motorcycle popped out. Now, you are actually more designed than this motorcycle, as you guys know. Do you know they said if you got your arteries and you stretch them out, it would go on and on and on? I mean, seriously, and I mean this even for my atheist subscribers, you guys are walking miracles. You are a walking miracle. Scripture says that you are fearfully, I haven't forgotten the key. I know you guys are thinking that. Scripture says that that you are fearfully and wonderfully made. That's what it says. Now, I can't believe that this motorcycle just popped into existence uncaused out of nothing. It is obvious that this is the product, wait for it, atheist, I'm going to say it real slow, like a fine wine as it rolls over your lips. Wait for it. It is a product of intelligent design. The viewer of this video, you are a product of intelligent design. If this motorcycle just can't pop into existence, certainly the universe, which is much more complex, cannot pop into existence. You can't just pop into existence. Whatever begins to exist must have a cause, right, guys? And the universe did begin to exist. Therefore, it has a cause. You got two choices. Nothing did it or God did it. I can't go with nothing did it. I just can't do it. Well, we're going to go into Ammo Brothers, and before we finish this video, I want to tell you guys, perhaps the atheist cannot find God for the same reason a thief cannot find a policeman. It is the atheist, guys, that believes himself to be an accident. I think you guys need to come back to reason. It's interesting that there's a scripture that says where God is pouring out his heart to people, and he's saying, come, let us reason together. He says, I know the thoughts I think of you, thoughts of peace, that you would have an expected end, that nothing bad would come to you. Atheism has no proof and evidence that it's accurate and correct. Just go ask the Amazing Atheist, the #1 subscribed to atheist on YouTube. Do a search for that video. Type in Proof Atheism is Madness. I love you guys. This is Shock. God bless you.